I knew something was wrong the moment I saw the champagne flutes on the kitchen counter. Not because my daughter-in-law was celebrating. That was normal. She celebrated everything from Tuesday mornings to successful parking jobs. But these were Waterford crystal, the kind that cost more than my first motorcycle, and they sat on granite countertops that hadn't been there 6 months ago. I stood in the doorway of what used to be Danny's house, a modest 3-bedroom ranch he'd bought with his first real paycheck from the engineering firm. Now it looked like a page torn from one of those magazines nobody actually reads, just flips through at the dentist's office. White leather furniture. Abstract art that probably cost thousands and looked like a toddler's tantrum. Track lighting that could guide aircraft. Oh. Vanessa appeared from the hallway, phone pressed to her ear, manicured finger raised in that universal gesture for wait. She wore yoga pants that cost more than motorcycle parts and a top that showed off arms that had never lifted anything heavier than a credit card. No, I'll call you back. He's here. She said he's here like I was the plumber, someone who'd shown up unexpected and slightly unwelcome. I'm 56. I've owned Morrison's motorcycle parts for 23 years. I've rebuilt engines with my bare hands, negotiated with suppliers who'd cheat their own mothers, and raised 2 kids after my first wife walked out. I'm not a large man, never have been. 5'10", maybe 170 soaking wet. But I know how to read a room, how to see the truth behind the smile, how to wait. I waited. So, Vanessa set her phone on the counter, screen down. Thanks for coming by. You said it was about Danny's estate. Right, yes. She smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. Can I get you something? Water? Coffee? I'm fine. Suit yourself. She leaned against the counter, crossing her arms. So, Thomas and I have been going over everything with the lawyers, and we wanted to talk to you about how we're moving forward. Thomas, my son-in-law, married to my daughter, Kelly. I hadn't seen his truck outside. Moving forward, I repeated, with the estate, the inheritance, all of it. She waved her hand around the room. Obviously, we've made some improvements. Danny would have wanted that. He always talked about updating this place. Danny had talked about a lot of things. Updating the house wasn't one of them. He'd loved this house exactly as it was, with its dated wallpaper and the den that still smelled like the previous owner's pipe tobacco. The inheritance was for Danny, I said quietly, from his grandfather. $5 million, held in trust until he turned 30. And since Danny's gone, it passed to his spouse. Vanessa's smile brightened like we were discussing weekend plans. That's how these things work. That's how some things work, not all. Our lawyer says differently. Your lawyer? Danny's and mine. Technically, mine now. She pushed off the counter, moving to the window. Late afternoon sun caught the diamond on her finger, throwing little rainbows across the wall. That was new too. The original engagement ring Danny had bought her was maybe half a carat. This thing could signal aircraft. Look, I know this is hard. It's hard for all of us. But Danny's gone and the rest of us have to live our lives. Some of us more expensively than others. She turned, eyes narrowing. Excuse me? The renovations, the jewelry. That's a new car in the garage, isn't it? The BMW? Mercedes. And what I do with my money is my business. Your money. Yes, my money. Danny's money. Our money. However you want to phrase it. She moved closer, and I could smell her perfume, something that probably cost more per ounce than premium gasoline. Listen, I didn't ask you here to fight. I asked you here because Kelly thought you should know what's happening. We're making changes. We're moving on. And part of that means establishing boundaries. Boundaries. You need to stop dropping by unannounced. Stop calling all the time. Stop treating this like you have some claim to Danny's life just because you're his father. The words hung in the air like gun smoke. We're his father, she corrected, almost gently. I'm sorry. Were. I'd rebuilt my first motorcycle engine when I was 15, a 1972 Honda CB750, more rust than chrome, seized pistons, stripped threads. Everyone said it was junk. My old man said I was wasting my time. I spent 6 months in a garage that didn't have heat, working by flashlight when the power got shut off, learning every bolt and gasket and valve. When I finally got it running, when I heard that engine turn over clean and strong, my father looked at it and said, "Guess you proved something." That engine had taught me patience, had taught me that some things can't be rushed, can't be forced. You have to take them apart piece by piece, see how everything connects, understand the system. I looked at Vanessa, at her $5,000 smile and her designer clothes and her remodeled kitchen, and I started taking things apart. "Who else is involved in these decisions?" I asked. "What?" "The estate decisions, the boundaries. Who else?" "Well, Thomas, obviously, and Kelly. We're all in agreement." "Kelly? Your daughter?" "Yes." I nodded slowly. "I'd like to hear that from her." "She's busy today." "I'll wait." "That's not—" Vanessa's phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at it, then back at me. "Look, this isn't productive. We've made our decision. The lawyers have made it official. You're going to have to accept that." "Accept what, exactly?" "That you're not part of this anymore. The new life, the new plans. You need to let go and move on." "Like you have." "Exactly like I have." She grabbed her phone, typing something quickly. "I loved Danny. I did. But he's gone, and I'm 32 years old, and I'm not going to spend the rest of my life in mourning, wearing black, and living in a time capsule." 8 months. "What?" "I know how long it's been." "Do you?" Her eyes flashed. "I was there. I held his hand in the hospital. I signed the papers." Danny had been hit by a drunk driver on Highway 101, heading home from a job site. Died 3 days later without waking up. The drunk driver got 7 years. Would probably serve 4. "I'm sorry," I said, and meant it. "This is hard for everyone." Vanessa's expression softened slightly. "It is. Which is why we all need space to grieve in our own ways. You understand that, right?" "I do." "Good." She smiled again, relief evident. "I'm glad we could talk about this like adults. Just one question." "Sure." "How much of the $5 million is left?" The smile froze. "I don't see how that's your concern." "Humor me. The estate is being managed properly. Everything's been allocated according to appropriate financial planning." "How much?" "That's private information." $3 million? 2? "I really don't appreciate your tone." $1 million? Vanessa set her phone down with a sharp click. "You need to leave." "How much, Vanessa?" "Get out of my house." "Danny's house." "My house. My name is on the deed now. My money paid for these renovations. Mine. And if you don't leave right now, I'm calling the police." I looked at her for a long moment. Really looked at her. Saw the panic behind the anger, the fear behind the indignation. Saw the truth. "You've already spent it, haven't you? All of it. Out. $5 million in 8 months. I said out." Her voice had risen to a near shriek. Somewhere in the house, a door opened, footsteps in the hallway. Thomas appeared, my son-in-law, 6'2" and 220, construction foreman muscles and a face that looked like it had argued with a few fists over the years. "Problem?" he asked, not looking at me, eyes on Vanessa. "He's leaving," she said. "Am I?" I asked Thomas. He finally looked at me. "Yeah, you are." "Kelly here? That's none of your business. She's my daughter, and she doesn't want to see you." That hit harder than a fist would have. I let it land, let it settle, added it to the growing list of things I was learning. "Fine," I said. "I'll go." Vanessa's relief was visible. Thomas stayed where he was, blocking the hallway, making sure I went toward the front door. I stopped at the threshold, turned back. "One more thing." "What?" Vanessa's patience was gone, her voice raw. Danny's life insurance, the policy he took out through work. That was separate from the inheritance, wasn't it? Another $1 million, if I remember right. The color drained from her face. I smiled. Not a nice smile. Not the kind of smile that reaches the eyes. Thought so, I said, and walked out. The front door slammed behind me hard enough to rattle the frame. I walked to my truck, a 2015 Silverado with 180,000 miles and a dent in the passenger door from where I'd backed into a loading dock 3 years ago. The engine started on the first try, like it always did. I sat there for a moment, hands on the wheel, watching the house in my rearview mirror. $6 million. Gone in 8 months. I thought about Danny, about teaching him to ride when he was 7, about watching him graduate engineering school, about the last conversation we'd had 2 days before the accident, when he'd called to say he was worried about Vanessa's spending. "She's not bad," he'd said. "She's just lost. Trying to find herself or something, I don't know. But, Dad, she bought a $30,000 handbag last week. Who spends $30,000 on a handbag?" I'd told him to talk to her, set boundaries, maybe see a financial advisor together. "Yeah," he'd said, "maybe." 2 days later, he was gone. I pulled out of the driveway and headed home, mind already working, taking things apart piece by piece. My wife, Grace, was in the garden when I got home, 20 miles up the coast in the small house we'd bought 15 years ago. She straightened when she heard the truck, pulling off her gloves, reading my face. "That bad?" she asked. "Worse." Inside, I told her everything. Grace listened without interrupting, the way she always did, green eyes sharp and focused. She's 3 years younger than me, a former paralegal who'd retired early to write mystery novels that never quite got published but made her happy anyway. When I finished, she sat back in her chair and let out a long breath. $6 million, she said. Give or take. In 8 months, apparently. That's not just spending. That's... She trailed off, thinking. That's hiding something. You don't burn through money that fast unless you're covering something up. Or feeding something. Gambling? Maybe. Or drugs. Or debt. Or all three. Grace stood, pacing to the window. Kelly's involved? According to Vanessa. Haven't talked to Kelly myself. Try now. I pulled out my phone, dialed Kelly's number. It rang 4 times, went to voicemail. I didn't leave a message. She's screening, Grace said. Yeah. So what do you do? That was the question, the one I'd been turning over in my mind for the entire drive home. What did I do? His wife had spent his inheritance. My daughter wouldn't talk to me. I had no legal standing, no claim to the money, no proof of anything except expensive renovations and new jewelry. What did I do? I thought about that Honda engine, about patience and persistence and understanding the system. I take it apart, I said. Grace turned, looked at me for a long moment, then nodded once. Okay, she said. Then let's take it apart. Before we go any further, hit the hype button, take a second to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? The next morning, I drove to the Sandpiper Cafe, a local place where half the town ate breakfast and the other half ate lunch. Small towns are like that. Everyone knows everyone, and the cafe is where information flows more freely than the coffee. I took a corner booth with a view of the door and ordered eggs and bacon from Denise, who'd been waitressing there for 20 years and knew more secrets than the entire police department. How's Grace? She asked, filling my coffee. Good. Working on a new book. Tell her I want to read it when she's done. I will. Denise hesitated, pot still in hand. Heard you went by Danny's place yesterday. Here it was. Less than 24 hours, and already the gossip network was humming. Yeah, I said. How's Vanessa doing? Seems to be managing. Denise's tone said she had opinions. Saw her at the country club last week. New membership. Heard those cost 40 grand to join. I kept my face neutral. That right? Sure is. My niece works in the office there. Said Vanessa paid cash, just walked in with a check. She leaned in slightly. Also said she's been bringing different men around. Not Thomas. Different ones. Different men. That's what I heard. Could be business, could be nothing. But, she shrugged. Thought you should know. After she left, I sat with my coffee and watched the cafe fill up. Recognized most faces, nodded to a few. Then Kelly walked in. She didn't see me at first, heading straight for the takeout counter. She looked tired, thinner than I remembered. Her hair, usually neat, was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wore scrubs from the veterinary clinic where she worked as a tech. I stood and crossed the cafe before I could talk myself out of it. Kelly. She jumped, turned, and her expression went from surprise to something harder in an instant. Dad. Can we talk? I'm late for work. 5 minutes. I don't have 5 minutes. She started to turn away. I caught her arm gently. She yanked it back like I'd burned her. Don't, she said, loud enough that several people looked over. I raised my hands, stepping back. Sorry, we need to talk. No, we don't. Kelly, you need to leave us alone, Dad. All of us. Vanessa, me, Thomas, you need to stop interfering. Interfering with what? With our lives. With our decisions. Danny's gone. I'm sorry. I know that's hard. But he's gone, and we're trying to move forward and you won't let us. She was speaking from a script. I could hear it in her voice, the practiced phrases, the rehearsed outrage. Who told you to say that? I asked quietly. Nobody told me anything. This is what I think. What I feel. Is it? Her eyes flashed. You think I'm some puppet? That I can't make my own decisions? I think you're my daughter and something's wrong. The only thing that's wrong is you can't let go. You're obsessed. It's not healthy. Kelly, I mean it, Dad. Stay away from us. If you keep pushing... She took a breath. Thomas said he'll get a restraining order if he has to. Thomas said that. We both did. We both agreed. Look at me. I am looking at you. Look at me and tell me you really want me out of your life. Tell me you really think I'm the problem here. For just a second, something cracked in her expression, something young and scared and trapped. Then it was gone, slammed back behind the wall. I have to go, she said, and pushed past me to the counter. I stood there for a moment, aware of the eyes on me, the whispers starting. Then I walked back to my booth, left cash on the table, and headed out. In the parking lot, I sat in my truck and called my lawyer. His name was Richard Brennan, 68 years old, semi-retired, sharper than most men half his age. He'd handled the business contracts when I bought the shop, had drafted Grace's and my wills, had been a friend for 20 years. Got a hypothetical for you, I said when he answered. I charge for hypotheticals now. Bill me. He chuckled. What's going on? I told him. Everything. The inheritance, the spending, the renovations, the new car, the country club membership, Vanessa's behavior, Kelly's words. When I finished, Richard was quiet for a long moment. How much do you want to know? He asked finally. Everything. Even if it's bad? Especially if it's bad. Give me a day, I'll make some calls. He hung up. I sat in the parking lot for another 10 minutes, watching people come and go, thinking about Kelly's expression when I'd asked her to look at me. Something young and scared and trapped. That night, Grace made dinner, and we ate mostly in silence. Afterward, we sat on the back deck with wine and watched the sun set over the water. Kelly came to see me this afternoon, Grace said. I looked over. When? Around 3. Showed up at the house. And she cried. For about 20 minutes, she just cried. Then she told me everything. I waited. Vanessa's got her claws in deep, Grace continued. Started right after Danny died. Subtle at first, just being supportive, being there. Then it shifted. None of that's true. I know. Kelly knows too, somewhere under all the manipulation. But Vanessa's good, really good. She isolated Kelly, turned her against you, convinced her that loyalty to family means loyalty to Vanessa now. Why? Because Kelly's the key. Kelly's your daughter. If Kelly's on Vanessa's side, it makes you look like the bad guy. Makes it look like you're the one causing problems, not Vanessa. What else did she say? Grace took a sip of wine. Vanessa's in trouble. Big trouble. She owes money, a lot of it. To who? Kelly doesn't know exactly. Loan sharks maybe, or worse. But she heard Vanessa on the phone one night, begging for more time. Said she'd have it soon. Said she just needed another few months. Another few months to what? To squeeze more money out of somewhere. Grace looked at me. Out of you. The pieces were falling into place, the engine taking shape. She's planning something, I said. That's what Kelly thinks. She doesn't know what, but she's scared, really scared. That's why she came to me. She's afraid if she goes to you directly, Vanessa will find out. Thomas is helping her. Thomas is Vanessa's puppet. He does whatever she says. Kelly thinks he might be getting a cut. I stood, moved to the railing, looked out at the darkening water. Kelly wants out, Grace said behind me. She wants to help you, but she's terrified of Vanessa. Terrified how? She didn't say, just that Vanessa knows things, has ways of making people hurt. I thought about that, about Vanessa's smile, her confidence, her complete lack of fear when I'd confronted her. She's done this before, I said. What? This whole thing. The manipulation, the spending, the control. She's done it before. That's why she's so good at it. Grace came to stand beside me. So what do? We prove it. How? I looked at her. Richard's making calls. Kelly's on our side, even if she can't show it. That's two advantages Vanessa doesn't know we have. And then what? Then we take everything away from her, everything she stole, everything she built on Danny's grave. That's not just revenge, Grace said quietly. No, I agreed. It's justice. The next morning, Richard called. You're going to want to sit down for this, he said. I sat. Vanessa Claire Hartley, Richard began. Maiden name Porter, 32 years old, born in Nevada, raised in California, married once before to a real estate developer in San Diego named Malcolm Hartley. Marriage lasted 2 years, ended when Malcolm died in a car accident. Another car accident. Interesting, isn't it? Malcolm left her everything, about $2 million. She burned through it in 18 months. Got involved with a man named Dennis Kovich, minor league loan shark with connections to some major league bad people. Owed him $500,000 when she met Danny. So Danny was a target. From day one. She researched him, found out about the trust fund, played the long game, married him, waited, and when the inheritance came through, the accident. The accident, Richard confirmed, which was investigated and ruled exactly that, an accident. The drunk driver was prosecuted, served his time, nothing suspicious. But the drunk driver, Terry Milson, was released 6 months ago. He's been living in Nevada, spending money he shouldn't have. Money that can be traced back to an LLC that Vanessa set up 3 weeks before Danny died. The words hung in the air like smoke. I can't prove that. Neither can you. Neither can the police. It's circumstantial at best, coincidental at worst. Milson could claim the money was for something else. The LLC could be legitimate, but it fits. It fits. I stood, paced across the room. Grace watched from the doorway, her face pale. There's more, Richard said. Vanessa's in debt again, this time for close to $2 million. Same guy, Dennis Kovich. She's been making payments, but she's running out of money, fast. The life insurance, already gone. Paid down some of the debt, but not enough. She needs more. From where? Best guess? She's going to claim you owe her something. Mental anguish, maybe. Some kind of family obligation. She'll get Thomas to back her up, use Kelly as leverage. If you don't pay, she'll destroy your reputation, maybe go after the business, make your life hell until you give her what she wants. Or she'll try something more direct. An accident, maybe. Something that looks natural. You're not a young man anymore. Heart attack, stroke, fall down some stairs. These things happen. The room felt very cold suddenly. What are my options? I asked. Legally, not many. Everything she's done is either untraceable or circumstantial. The money's gone, spent legitimately as far as the law's concerned. The debts are hers to manage. The connection to Milson is interesting but not prosecutable. So I do nothing. I didn't say that. I said legally your options are limited, but you've got other tools at your disposal. Like? Information, leverage, patience. You know how she operates now. You know what she wants. You know she's desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. I need to make her more desperate. I didn't say that. But that's what you mean. Richard was quiet for a moment. I'm your lawyer. I can't advise you to do anything illegal. But I can tell you that sometimes the best defense is a good offense. And sometimes the people who play dirty don't expect to have it played back. We talked for another 20 minutes, planning, strategizing. When I hung up, Grace was sitting at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a coffee mug. Yeah, and we can't prove it. No. So what do? I sat across from her, took her hands. We make her pay anyway. How? When I finished, Grace looked at me for a long time. That's ruthless, she said finally. I know. So? So let's destroy her. The house was mine by noon. The car, what little furniture had any value, the jewelry, all of it seized and sold at auction. Vanessa had nothing. She tried calling me, 60 times the first day, 80 the second. By the third day, she was calling every 10 minutes, leaving sobbing voicemails, begging for mercy. I didn't answer. Grace asked me if I felt guilty. No, I said. Not even a little? You still can't prove that. I don't need to prove it. I know it. That's enough. Grace looked at me for a long moment. You've become someone I don't recognize. Good. The old me would have let her win. The old you was kind. Kind men lose. Not always. Often enough. She left the room. I sat alone in the kitchen, drinking coffee, feeling nothing. Kelly came by that evening. Vanessa's been calling Thomas, she said, demanding he help her, threatening to expose his affair if he doesn't. What's he saying? Nothing. He blocked her number. Smart. She's desperate, Dad. Really desperate. I'm worried about what she might do. She can't do anything. She has no money, no home, no leverage. She's done. People like her don't just quit. Then we'll handle whatever comes next. How? Same way we've handled everything else. One step at a time. Kelly stood to leave, then turned back. Are you okay? I'm fine. You don't seem fine. You seem… what? Cold. Like you've shut down something inside yourself. Maybe I have. That's not healthy. She nodded slowly. Just don't lose yourself completely. Danny wouldn't want that. After she left, I sat on the back deck and thought about Danny. About who I'd been when he was alive, and who I'd become since he died. Kelly was right. I had changed, become harder, colder, more ruthless. That was all that mattered. The next morning, I got a call from an unknown number. Mr. Morrison? A man's voice, smooth and professional. Who's this? My name is Victor Kane. I'm an associate of Vanessa Hartley's. I believe we have a mutual interest in resolving this situation. I don't know any Victor Kane. You might know me by another name. The Fixer. I sat up straight. Keep talking. Mrs. Hartley hired me to arrange certain inconveniences for various people. Danny, for instance. She's now asking me to arrange something similar for you. Is that a threat? Not from me. I'm calling to inform you that I declined her request. I don't work for people who can't pay. and Mrs. Hartley is, shall we say, financially compromised at the moment. Why tell me this? Professional courtesy. Also, I don't appreciate being played. Mrs. Hartley lied to me about her financial situation, cost me time and resources. Noted. One more thing. She mentioned having insurance, evidence against you that she plans to release if anything happens to her. Just thought you should know. He hung up. I immediately called Richard. Vanessa has evidence against me, I said. Something she plans to use if I push further. What kind of evidence? I don't know, but we need to find out. I'll make some calls. 2 hours later, Richard called back. She's bluffing, he said. How do you know? Because I had Lisa Chen do a sweep of Vanessa's storage unit, her car, everywhere she might hide something. There's nothing. No evidence, no insurance, no hidden files. She could have it stored digitally. Kelly checked her computer. Vanessa's not that tech-savvy. If she had something, it would be physical. So the fixer was wrong. Or Vanessa's lying to him too. Desperate people make up stories. Then we're clear to finish this. Finish how? The DA's investigation. When does it go public? Next week. They're issuing a warrant for her arrest, based on the evidence Kelly provided. Good. Is it? Once she's arrested, once the legal process starts, you lose control. This becomes about the system, not about you. I don't need control. I just need her to pay. She will, but it might not be the way you want. As long as she pays, I don't care how. Richard was quiet for a moment. You've really changed. So everyone keeps telling me. Just be careful. People who go this far down the rabbit hole sometimes can't find their way back. I'll worry about that after Vanessa's in jail. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Richard had said, about going too far, about not finding my way back. Maybe he was right. Maybe I had changed too much, become too focused on revenge. Or maybe this was who I'd always been, and it just took losing Danny to bring it out. I got up, went to the garage, looked at my tools. 23 years of work, all gone in one night of fire. Insurance would cover some of it, but not all. Not the irreplaceables, the custom tools I'd made myself, the sentimental pieces. Vanessa had taken that from me. Just like she'd taken Danny. No, I decided. I hadn't gone too far. I'd gone exactly far enough. The next morning, Vanessa showed up at my house. I was in the driveway, loading boxes into the truck, when her rental car pulled up. She got out slowly, looking around like she expected someone to jump out and grab her. What do you want? I asked. To talk. We have nothing to talk about. Please. Just 5 minutes. I looked at her. She'd lost weight, looked like she hadn't slept in days. Her clothes were wrinkled, her hair unwashed. She looked defeated. Good. 5 minutes, I said. We stood in the driveway, keeping distance between us. I don't think it. I know it. You're wrong. Am I? I loved him. I really did. He was kind to me, patient. He saw the best in me when no one else did. Then explain Terry Milson, explain the LLC, explain the money. I can't, because it wasn't me. Liar. I'm not lying. Someone set me up. Who? I don't know, but there's evidence. Things I found that don't add up. Things that prove someone else was involved. Where's this evidence? Hidden. Safe. I can show you. I studied her face looking for the lie, but all I saw was desperation and fear. Show me, I said. Not here. Somewhere public. Somewhere safe. Why? Afraid I'll hurt you? Wouldn't you? Fair point. Where? I asked. The library, downtown, tomorrow at noon. Fine. She got back in her car, drove away. I stood there, thinking. Grace appeared beside me. You believe her? No. Then why agree to meet? Because if she really does have evidence, I need to see it. And if she doesn't, if this is some kind of trap, I need to know that too. Be careful. Always am. But I wasn't. That was the problem. Now I was just angry, and anger made people stupid. The next day, I arrived at the library early, found a table in the back with clear sightlines to all exits. Vanessa arrived 10 minutes late, carrying a large envelope. She sat across from me, set the envelope on the table. "This is everything," she said. "Bank records, phone logs, emails. Let me see." She pushed the envelope across. I opened it, scanned the contents. It was garbage. Random documents, meaningless numbers, nothing that proved anything except that Vanessa was good at faking evidence. "This is bullshit," I said. "It's not. Look closer. The phone calls from an unlisted number, the transfers from an unknown account. Someone was helping me without me knowing. Or you're making this up to save yourself." "Why would I do that?" "Because you're going to be arrested, because the DA has evidence, because you're out of options and this is your last desperate play." Her face crumpled. "Please, you have to believe me. I don't have to do anything." "Then who did?" She opened her mouth, closed it, looked away. We're done here." I stood. She grabbed my arm. I shook her off. "Please," she said. "Please don't leave. You're the only one who can help me." "Help you? After what you did?" "I didn't do anything." "Liar." My voice echoed through the library. People turned to stare. A librarian started toward us. Vanessa stood, tears streaming down her face. "Fine. Don't believe me. But when the truth comes out, when you realize you were wrong, I hope you can live with yourself." She left. I sat back down, hands shaking with anger. The librarian approached. "Sir? Is everything okay?" "Fine," I said, "just fine." But it wasn't fine. Nothing was fine. And I was starting to wonder if it ever would be again. The warrant for Vanessa's arrest was issued 3 days later. She didn't run, didn't hide, just walked into the police station with a lawyer and turned herself in. The arraignment was quick. She pled not guilty, couldn't make bail, was remanded to county lockup pending trial. I sat in the courtroom gallery and watched her being led away in handcuffs. She looked at me once, her expression unreadable. Good, I thought. Let her rot. But Kelly wasn't satisfied. "This isn't enough," she said later that day. We were sitting in Richard's office, going over the case. "What do you mean?" I asked. "She's in jail. That's good. But she'll get out eventually. Even if she's convicted, she'll serve 10 years max, and then she's free. Free to start over, to hurt other people. That's the justice system. The justice system failed Danny. What do you want me to do, Kelly? We've done everything legal." "Maybe legal isn't enough." Richard held up a hand. "Stop right there. Whatever you're thinking, don't say it out loud. Not in my office." "Why not?" "Because if you're talking about harming Vanessa, about taking justice into your own hands, that makes me an accessory, and I'm not going to jail for you." Kelly stood, paced to the window. "She destroyed my marriage. She almost destroyed my relationship with my father. And now she's going to sit in a cell with 3 meals a day and a TV while Danny's in the ground." "I understand your anger," Richard began. "Do you? Have you lost someone to a manipulative sociopath? Have you watched your family fall apart because of one person's greed?" "No, but I've seen what revenge does to people. It doesn't heal them. It poisons them." "Good. I want to be poisoned. I want to be angry, because anger is the only thing keeping me from falling apart." She left. I sat there, looking at Richard. "She's not wrong," I said. "About what?" "About the system failing Danny, about Vanessa not paying enough." "Don't tell me you're thinking the same thing she is." "I'm thinking a lot of things. Don't do anything stupid." "Define stupid." I stood to leave. "No promises." That night, Grace and I had the fight I'd been avoiding for weeks. "You're scaring me," she said. "Why?" "Because you're talking about revenge like it's justice, because you're becoming obsessed, because I look at you and I don't see the man I married. That man's son wasn't murdered. So you become a murderer too?" I haven't murdered anyone. Yet, but you're thinking about it. I can see it in your eyes. Vanessa deserves to die. Maybe. You don't deserve to carry that for the rest of your life. I can handle it. Can you? Because I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure I can love someone who's capable of murder. That stopped me cold. You'd leave me? I don't know. I hope I don't have to find out. We stood there in the kitchen, 5 feet apart, a gulf between us. I can't let it go, I said finally. Danny was our son. He deserves justice. He deserves for you to live your life, to be happy, to move on. Because the alternative is you destroying yourself. And Danny wouldn't want that. You don't know what he'd want. Yes, I do, because I knew him, really knew him. And he'd want you to let go. To grieve, yes. To be angry, yes. But not to become this vengeful, cold person you're turning into. I looked at her, saw the pain in her eyes, the fear. I don't know how to let go, I said quietly. Then learn, get therapy, talk to someone. Do something other than plot revenge. It's too late for that. It's never too late. But she was wrong. The next day, I visited Vanessa in jail. I had to jump through hoops to get approved, had to lie about why I wanted to see her. But finally, I was sitting across from her in the visitor's room, a scratched plexiglass partition between us. She looked terrible. Orange jumpsuit, no makeup, hair pulled back. Barely recognizable as the woman who'd flaunted expensive clothes and jewelry. "Why are you here?" she asked through the phone. "To see you suffer. Mission accomplished." "Not yet. You're still alive." "Is that a threat?" "It's a statement." She leaned back, studying me. "You really hate me." "Yes." "Good. At least someone feels something. In here, I'm nothing. Just another inmate." "That's what you deserve." "Maybe. But you know what's funny? We're past that lie." "It's not a lie. Someone set me up. Someone who knew about my debts, my history, my vulnerabilities." "Who?" "I don't know. But when I figure it out, when I prove it, you're going to feel pretty stupid for doing all this." "I won't hold my breath." She leaned forward, eyes intense. "You think you've won, but you haven't. This isn't over." "Yes, it is. You're in jail. I've taken everything. It's over." "Nothing's ever over." I stood. "Goodbye, Vanessa." "See you soon," she said. I walked out, feeling her eyes on my back. That night, I got a call from the county jail. Vanessa had been attacked by another inmate, stabbed 3 times. She was in critical condition at the hospital. I drove there immediately, not sure why, not sure what I was feeling. The doctor met me in the waiting room. "Are you family?" he asked. "Close enough. How is she?" "Stable. Lucky, actually. The wounds were serious but not fatal. She'll recover." "Can I see her?" "She's in ICU. No visitors except immediate family." "I'm her father-in-law." The doctor hesitated, then nodded. "Room 408. 5 minutes." I took the elevator up, found the room. Vanessa lay in the bed, hooked to machines, bandaged and broken. She opened her eyes when I entered. "Come to finish the job?" she whispered. "No." I pulled up a chair, sat beside the bed. "Who attacked you?" "Doesn't matter." "It matters to me." "Why?" "Good question. Why did it matter?" "Because I need to understand," I said finally. "Understand what?" "Who?" "Someone close to you, someone you trust." "Stop playing games." "I'm not. I'm telling you the truth, and they made sure I took the fall." "Names, Vanessa. Give me names." "I can't. Not here. Not now. But soon. When I'm out of here, when I can prove it." "You're not getting out. You're going to trial. You're going to prison." "Maybe. Or maybe the truth comes out first." A nurse appeared at the door. "Time's up." I stood. Vanessa grabbed my hand with surprising strength. "Be careful," she said. "Whoever did this to Danny, to me, they're not done. They won't be done until everyone's destroyed. I pulled my hand away. You're lying. You're always lying. Am I? I left without answering. But her words haunted me. Someone close to you. Someone you trust. Who? I spent the next 3 days investigating everyone in my life. Grace. But that was impossible. She had no motive, no means, no opportunity. Kelly. Also impossible. She loved Danny, Richard, my lawyer for 20 years. No motive. Lisa Chen, the PI. Barely knew Danny. I was chasing ghosts. On the 4th day, Grace confronted me. What are you doing? She asked. Research. You're investigating me. I found the background check you ran. I set down my coffee. I'm investigating everyone. Why? And you believe her? I don't know what to believe anymore. No. Then why run a background check on me? Because I have to be sure. I have to know. You already know. You've known me for 25 years. You know I would never hurt Danny. People change. People lie. I'm not Vanessa. How do I know that? She slapped me. The sound echoed through the kitchen. My cheek stung. Because I'm your wife, she said, her voice shaking. Because I loved Danny as much as you did. Because I would die before hurting our family. I touched my face, feeling the heat. I'm sorry. Sorry's not enough. You need to stop. You need to let this go before it destroys us all. I can't. Yes, you can. You just won't. She left the room. I heard her car start, heard her drive away. I sat alone in the kitchen, feeling the walls close in. That afternoon, Kelly called. I think I know who Vanessa was talking about, she said. Who? Thomas. What? Think about it. He had access to Danny's schedule. He knew about the trust fund. He was desperate for money because of his affair, and he's been helping Vanessa from the start. How do you know? Because he's not smart enough. Planning a murder, setting up Vanessa to take the fall, that takes intelligence and patience. Thomas has neither. Then maybe he was working with someone. Who? I don't know. But I'm going to find out. Kelly, don't do anything stupid. Too late. I'm already knee-deep in stupid. She hung up. I sat there, thinking about what she'd said. Thomas working with someone. But who? The answer came 2 hours later when Lisa Chen called. I've got something, she said. Something big. What? Thomas didn't have an affair with Jennifer Parks. Jennifer Parks doesn't exist. What do you mean? The woman in the hotel photos, the texts, all of it. It's fake. Someone created a fake identity to make it look like Thomas was cheating. Why? To give Vanessa leverage. To control him. Who created the identity? That's the interesting part. The credit cards, the phone, the hotel reservations, they all trace back to one source. Who? Richard Brennan. The world tilted. Richard? I repeated. My lawyer. Your lawyer. Danny's lawyer. The man who's had access to all your financial information, your family secrets, your trust. I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. She hung up. I sat in my truck, hands gripping the wheel, mind racing. Richard. 20 years of friendship. 20 years of trust. He'd helped me through the divorce from my first wife. He'd drafted Danny's trust documents. He'd been there for every major decision. And all along, he'd been planning. But why? I drove to Richard's office, barged past the receptionist, threw open his door. He looked up from his desk, surprised. We need to talk, I said. About what? About Jennifer Parks, about the fake identity you created to blackmail Thomas. His expression didn't change. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie. I have proof. Bank records, IP addresses, everything. Richard leaned back in his chair. Proof of what? That I helped a client with a difficult situation? That's a serious accusation. It's the truth. Can you prove it? Not yet, but I will. Richard stood, moved to the window. You want to know the real truth? Danny was a liability. What? He was looking into his trust, asking questions about the distributions. He was starting to figure out that money had been moved, that fees had been inflated. He was going to report me to the bar association. I arranged for him to have an accident. There's a difference. Not to me. No, I suppose not. Richard turned, looked at me calmly. But you can't prove any of this. I've been very careful. Everything points to Vanessa. I'll find a way. No, you won't. Because I'm better at this than you are. I've been doing it longer. Solving problems. Danny was a problem. Vanessa was a convenient scapegoat. It all worked perfectly until you started digging. He pulled a gun from his desk drawer. Stop, he said. I stopped. This is unfortunate, Richard said. I liked you, but you've left me no choice. I'm going to make it look like you came here enraged, attacked me, and I defended myself. It'll be tragic but justified. People will know. Will they? You've been acting erratic for months, obsessed with Vanessa, investigating everyone. Grace even left you this morning. Who wouldn't believe you finally snapped? He raised the gun. I lunged. The shot echoed in the office. Pain exploded in my shoulder. I crashed into Richard, drove him back into the window. Glass shattered. We fell.